Atlas.
G'day ladies and gentlemen. On today's video we're going to discuss the mystery of why your carburetor screws are often stripped out at the top. I don't actually have any to show you as an example, and I think this video will explain why. Now, if you worked on an old motorcycle and old carburetors, you've no doubt at some point in time encountered flogged out screws, making your day an absolute piece of poo. So let's explain some of the reasons as to why that is the case, and then I'll tell you a specific reason, one that you're probably not aware of. So firstly, the proximity of the screws in relation to fuel. Apparently the fuel can help those threads stick up a fair bit, and of course then when you go to undo it, she can strip out. Another one is having steel screws into an aluminium body. Those two materials don't like to interact with each other too well and can bind. I've heard some people say that they strip out because the material is soft on the screws. That is possibly the case. And another culprit is using a really worn out Phillips head screwdriver on there. That's certainly not going to help your day. However, there's one other contributing factor that you're probably not aware of. And I'll give you a clue. Usually when you encounter these flogged out screws, they're on Japanese carburetors. This is a Mikuni. I have here a Cayenne off a Harley Davidson, stripped down of course. These are also made in Japan. So even though it's an American carburetor, it's Japanese, and you will have no doubt encountered these screws flogged out on these. In fact, I've seen videos of it. So why? Why are these things flogged out? Actually, let me just wait for the door to stop rattling, because it is slightly windy today. Let me point out something that you probably no doubt noticed. These dots. You've no doubt seen them. And maybe if you're like me, you've gone, what the bloody hell are those dots for? Well, here's the thing. Those dots tell you that these screws are not... How was that? How was that? That was a bit tricky. All dramatic effect, and the carburetor starts rap dancing on me. These screws are not Phillips head screws. Yeah, sure they look like it, you know, but they're not. And that's what that dot indicates. That dot means that these screws are in fact JIS screws, Japanese industry standard screws, hence why you'll find them on Japanese carburetors and other Japanese products. So, what is the tool? It looks just like that. It looks like a regular screwdriver, but it's not. Now, there's actually no markings on this, but this is a JIS screwdriver. This is made specifically for these type of screws. You can get these on Amazon if you so wish to purchase the correct tool for the job. I'm guessing they're not too expensive. This is a good quality one, so it was not cheap. But I'm a bit of a tool whore, bit of a tool slut, and I do like the right tool for the job. Okay, now, maybe you don't want to go out and buy the correct tool for the job. So yes, there are ways to get these out, and I'll give you a few little tips and tricks on how you can do it. One is to get a good quality Phillips head screwdriver, one that hasn't been worn out. This one's probably a little worn. What I use, I've got this beat up little bits holder here, and I use it specifically for my number 2. I don't know if I've even used any of these other bits, to be honest. This one I rarely use. Like, I don't know how this is so beaten up because it's never used. I use this bit specifically for taking out stubborn screws. In this case, I can use it on a JIS. And I'll give you a bit of a tip. When I'm doing these, don't just get in and start turning. That's the problem. Apply more downwards force than rotational force. And with a bit of experience, you'll be able to feel this, but as you're trying to twist it, you can feel it. You can feel the mating surfaces of the screw tip and the screw grabbing, and soon you'll be able to tell the difference between that and whether or not it's rounding. If that doesn't work, you can always go to idea number 2, good old vice grips. You know, give it a good turn. Once again, use feel. Feel will tell you whether or not the vice grips are slipping or whether or not the screw is actually going to break free. However, if that doesn't work, you can always get a Dremel, or in my case, my trusty old, my little cutter wheel, and just elongate the groove in the screw. Get as wide a blade screwdriver as possible, and then boom. The wider the blade, the more torque you have. I guess, right there. If you're desperate, you could use one of these. I'm not really a fan of smacking carburetors with impact drivers, but if you're desperate, and that should get it out. If not, well, I guess you're on your own with that one. Maybe buy one of these. Although once the screw's flogged out, this is not going to help you anyways. So that's it. That's the mystery of why your screws are flogged out, and a little bonus fact as to why these things have a dot. So hopefully in your next adventures you won't have any more troubles. Actually, what I should point out is once you've undone these, it's not a bad idea to replace them with regular Phillips head screws or Allen key bolts, just to make it easier. Maybe you don't want to purchase a new tool. And another benefit is, let's say you're going on a long ride, you don't want to have 2 screwdrivers on you when you can get the whole job done with just the one, if these obviously are replaced with regular Phillips head screws or Allen key screws if you've got a set of Allen keys. I personally have the proper screwdriver, and I'm more than happy to keep using it. I also don't crank the crap out of these things, so they tend not to stick for me. Anyways, that'll do for this episode. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next Tuesday.